Hi, and welcome to episode 7 of the Wilmac Wire. My name is Emily Miller. I'm the Director of Marketing at Wilmac Technologies. And today we have a very special guest with us, our President and CEO, Mr. Steve McDonnell. Steve, thanks for joining us today.
No problem. Excited.
Awesome. So I am going to jump right into the content and ask you for your first question, just to share more about who you are and what you do.
All right. That's a loaded question. Steve McDonnell. I am the CEO and president of Wilmac. Entails quite a bit, but I think you can kind of bring it down to I create the vision, the strategic vision, and the culture of the company, and try to bring that to all the employees and try to give them the vision to execute on a daily basis what we need to get done here and what we want to get done. And the vision, being a week, a year, 3 years, 10 years, try to be as transparent with everybody on that. Yeah. And really feel managing and mentoring people is my most important and my daily role.
Definitely. Okay, and this, you didn't just come in to acquire the company and become president and CEO. I want you to talk about your journey to Wilmac. Where did you start, and how have you evolved into this position?
Yep. So I worked at Xerox, another local Rochester company out of college. Actually, ironically, up in Boston, Massachusetts. So lived up there after school. Worked for Xerox for 5 to 6 years as a sales rep. Went to their training in Leesburg, Virginia, which was intense and great. So we had a great background there. Did not know at that point if I was going to kind of try to go the corporate route with Xerox or come to Wilmac. I obviously knew about Wilmac, but I hadn't really dove deep into it at that point. Probably my 4th or 5th year at Xerox, things were going well, and I was going to have to make a choice, go back to get my MBA with Xerox through Xerox, or go and work for Wilmac. Wilmac had done a good job growing their geography in Manhattan. So I decided after some convincing to go in the Wilmac direction. So we actually first we were opening up an office in Boston. I was the sole employee up in Boston, selling our contact center software, nice contact center software up there. So that was my entry into Wilmac. I think 2013, 2012 timeframe roughly.
Okay.
So yeah, decided not to go the corporate route and go the small private company route.
Yeah, gotcha. And so you were in Boston for a while, then you moved to Manhattan. You kind of you got more and more responsibility as in the sales role, correct?
Correct. So Boston, I was really focusing on contact center software. A sales rep in Manhattan who had done a great job had left Wilmac, believed to be a stay-at-home mother, if I recall. And I had to cover her territory for 3 to 4 months, and I was constantly on the Excella down to New York. When my attention needed to be up in Boston I was trying to grow the company and get brand new customers. So I was down in Manhattan with already customers trying to upsell. And what I found out through my trips down there is that the market was huge, and we weren't getting a full grasp of it at that point. So at that point, I had brought to the management at Wilmac, I could stay up here. It'll be green. It's going to take a while to get up and running, or I could go down there and really enhance the company. We've already made some ways into it, and it could really use someone getting in there and grinding it out.
Yeah.
So as a company, we decided to shift my focus down there. So I moved to Manhattan in 2013, 2014. So I did not do the Boston trial for very long. This was definitely something that was important to Wilmac. So instead of contact center, I was moving into financial services. So heavy focus on trading floor and compliance software,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of dove into a whole new world down there. So I kind of started to build out and run our compliance division, which I ended up doing for 6 years. So got to travel a lot to Europe through some of our large bank customers, grew the partner program with
Mm-hmm.
different various partners in the financial / trading floor industry. So I was excited down there.
Cool. And when did you decide it was time to come back to Rochester and start considering acquiring the company?
So COVID hit
Mm-hmm.
in like 2020, and it was right about then that started talking seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I knew eventually I would probably be acquiring the company. Our
Mm-hmm.
continuity product had taken off at that same time I was doing
Yeah.
the compliance stuff, because a lot of those banks were driving continuity.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely got me excited about wanting to acquire the company and
Right.
what I could possibly do with some different management in place. But COVID kind of sped it up, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. So in COVID, we were stuck at home. We actually moved out to Long Island, and knew we were going to move up to Rochester to
Right.
start doing the acquisition. I wanted to be here roughly about a year
Mm-hmm.
under the current management to kind of learn the ropes. I had been completely on the sales side and needed
Right.
to learn how to run a company, which now looking back, you know, it's completely different than what I was doing. So I definitely needed that year under my belt.
Mm-hmm.
So it was probably 2020. I moved up in 2021, got the roughly year and a half under my belt before the transition. So that helped quite a bit. But looking back, continuity, replay our own IP,
Mm-hmm.
doing so well and wanting to drive that as a kind of a software-led application company, definitely influenced me to move the effort in acquiring the company quicker.
Great. Yeah. And you talked about continuity a few times, and I think that's been a big push from your standpoint for growth. So can you speak more to why you took it in that direction?
Yeah, I can take it all the way back to my Xerox days. So at Xerox, I was selling large multifunctional devices, copiers, printers, all built into one, but it was Xerox product.
Right.
I wasn't the reseller of the product. When I went in, I was Xerox. And when I came to Wilmac, we were primarily a VAR, a value-added reseller. So we would be reselling Nice or Barron. It was much more difficult to get meetings, much more difficult to sell in general. Now there's obviously a lot of value in being a VAR, but it just puts a lot more pressure on a sales rep. It helped me understand the overall business, so it helped me to where I was going. But from a sales perspective, it's a bit easier and more transitional if you are selling your own IP, if you are the direct sales team. So it was attractive to me when we go and we're building out the sales team to be able to say, hey, you're not only reselling, you're selling our own software. Right. It's a lot easier of a sale. So that was really attractive to me. I knew I kind of had a vision of how I wanted to build out the sales team, and having that was really important. Also, margins. It increases the company's value, because our margins are a lot better. Once the software is developed, we also have a lot more control of it. So we would get in a lot of situations where a customer would request something and we'd have to go back to our vendor, and maybe they don't want to do it. Now with our own software, it's walking down the hall and be like, hey guys, when can you do this? How quick can you get it done?
Right.
So I think we're in a unique position, being able to do both. We sell, top end $1 billion vendors in our industry, Five9 and Nice being the top two in CCaaS, and then have our own niche product that we can really sell anywhere.
Definitely.
So that's working out well.
Yes, definitely. It makes my job too on the marketing side a lot more fun, which is nice. But like you've kind of mentioned, it's been a busy couple months. We moved to a new office, which is where we're recording. We were named the best company to work for in New York. We made quite a few hires. We announced the launch of Continuity Replay Cloud in the past few weeks. What does this all mean for Wilmac?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've learned in the year and a half of owning the company is to be patient a bit. You named all those things. They happen to kind of go boom, boom, boom.
Right.
But if you think about it, we've been working about it before I even acquired the company. So it takes time for this. We've had the vision of a lot of this stuff, and I think they're all great and wonderful and exciting. We're getting some notoriety. We're getting our name out, which is great. The company's growing, but it's just the first step into where we want to go.
Right.
So staying focused, knowing what our game plan is, and knowing you look at that. And we want to eventually be a company that happens every other month.
Right.
This is just who we are and what we're about.
Right.
So it's important. The top company to work for, I think, is great. I think we all should be really proud of that. Moving into this great new space helped out with that, but that helps recruiting, helps bring in the type of people we want to bring in that can help grow the company. So all great. I know how much work goes into all of that and how much time this stuff takes. But again, I think it's kind of the first step into our long journey that we're on the road for.
Definitely. And something that you mention a lot here day to day is talking about momentum. And that's been kind of a theme of yours since you acquired the company. And I think we're starting to finally hit that stride. And like you said, seeing some of those rewards that we've poured a lot of time and effort into, you especially. So thank you for all of that. But just a few more questions for you. On a lighter note, what is your favorite thing about your job and why?
Whew.
Another loaded question for you.
I would say getting to build something. I think it's really cool that we have a chance to build something, not from scratch. Wilmac did an unbelievable job getting it to this point where we are now. Before I acquired it, and a lot of us had part in that for the past 10 years. And then a lot of people that aren't here, did the really tough part. When you're in a startup type atmosphere, to get it to zero to a certain amount of millions is really tough. So we're here, and I feel our responsibility is, all right, it got here. Now, how are we going to get it even further?
Right.
So I enjoy that part of it. I enjoy building. I enjoy recruiting, building the strategic team, the management team, the leadership teams. That's probably my favorite part. And getting to see, the excitement and see us grow. So
definitely.
That's probably my favorite part of the company.
That's a good favorite thing for sure. And I can speak to it on the other side, coming in 2021, right before when you moved back, actually, and seeing how it's changed from being over on State Street to where we are now. It's astounding how much has changed in just a couple years. So looking forward to continuing to see that. Okay, and last question for you. Where can people find you and network with you?
So, big LinkedIn guy.
Yep.
Stephen McDonnell, I think, or is it Steve?
Stephen. Yeah.
Stephen McDonnell. All over that. That's the main spot. I feel like that is the Instagram, Facebook of the business world.
Definitely.
And YouTube, we have a page that this will come on, and I'll be making some more appearances on things on YouTube. Our website, wilmactech.com.
Yep.
And
I think you nailed it. Yeah, make sure to follow Steve on LinkedIn. Connect with him there. You get to see all things Wilmac about it on there. All right. Thank you, Steve, for joining me today on episode 7 of the Wilmac Wire. I want to encourage everyone who's watching to stay tuned for an episode in the coming weeks with our VP of Engineering, Bob Pease, and our sales engineer, Charlie Snedden, where they're going to discuss Continuity Replay Cloud in much more depth than Steve and I can, and kind of their roles of the development of our new cloud-based SaaS product. So stay tuned for that. Steve, like I said, thank you again for your time. We'll have you on again soon.
Yes, no, I appreciate it, and I echo what Em is saying. Bob and Charlie are about to show you guys something really great with the new continuity product, so hopefully you guys can stay tuned on that. Emily's doing a great job with the Wilmac
Slowly
Wire,
but surely.
and we will keep cranking these out. So great job, Em.
Thanks, Steve. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Wilmac Wire. Don't want to miss the next one? Be sure to subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And while you're at it, head over to LinkedIn and follow the Wilmac Technologies page to stay up to date on everything happening here at Wilmac Technologies. And again, thank you for tuning in.